Hello everyone, this is the Fantasy Gremlin. I'm not a fantasy football expert, I just win championships. I'm a newcomer to this podcasting thing. This is actually my very first podcast. I do listen to all the other podcasts and generally scan over everybody's articles. But what I've taken from the podcast is you're supposed to announce what kind of beer you're drinking, and right now I got a Land Shark in my hand and I'm ready to go. I'll just start off with a little introduction to who I am and where I come from. Been doing fantasy football for a good 12 to 15 years, and I'm really just going to build this podcast on credibility, not about what I've done in the past so much, but what I will be doing in the future. I'm basically going to be keeping this away from the people I actually play in leagues with, and then maybe by the time they hear about it, I might be getting some cashola coming my way and making it worthwhile anyways. I do mostly competitive leagues. I do on occasion do some upstart type scoring leagues that you generally won't find anywhere else. And then outside of the competitive leagues, I do money leagues as well. In the past, my wife didn't really like the whole fantasy football nerd thing, and I don't think I'm helping my nerd cred by having this headset on my head right now. But over the years, I bring home the bacon, and she's actually very supportive of it now. As the season goes along, I may not have a podcast every week. You're probably not going to get the typical waiver wire look at that guy, the newest and latest, greatest guy that you just got to have on your roster, because you know what, everybody does that. So I'm taking a different approach in that sense. I'm gonna basically go on something that I've been doing for years, and it's actually worked out for me well. Sometimes it doesn't work for me in that particular year, but it helps when I come around to the next year. And what I'm getting at is I have really been known to be the recycler of the free agent pool, and what I will generally do is I'm usually pretty early, but I'll be picking up guys on talent alone, because generally I'll have a pretty solid roster year to year unless I get ravaged by injuries. So what I'm doing is I'm picking up players on sheer talent alone. So if something happens, their workload increases just because you just can't keep the guy off the field, that they're really going to pay off by playoff and championship time. And you really can't pull that off unless you got a solid roster. Just to give you an idea, I'm usually a year early on guys using this method. I was a year early on guys like Ray Rice, Sidney Rice, doing the Rice hook up there. But it really works out. I was a year early on Jimmy Graham. Saw this guy in training camp early in the season. Saw he really had a big game, the Thanksgiving game. I think it was his rookie year, and had him on all my rosters, but he didn't really produce until the next year. But because I knew who he was and understood his skill set and who his quarterback was, especially, made an easy pickup, and I usually pick these guys up about a round earlier in the following year. Now, I don't take the general approach that fantasy football quote-unquote experts go from. You're not going to hear me crunching numbers, although all that stuff is real good and well. The few numbers that I really take into account, you might hear come out of my mouth, is favorable matchups in the playoff time. I'm not going to hear it too much in the regular season because it's the playoffs that matter. Your team's strong enough, you're going to make it to the playoffs, and that's all that matters. So my approach to fantasy football is from a scout's perspective, and I even take almost the socio path where I'm not quite Jimmy the Greek, where I get the inside scoop and find out some guy's going to have a birthday party with a pound of blow or something like that. But I understand the dynamics of the team. When you have a leader on the team, he raises the talent levels around him, as well as able to fill the gaps. He makes it happen. Obvious things that you can pick up guys around the league is you got Ray Lewis and those kinds of guys, but then you got the guys that are quiet but they're still leaders because everybody is just waiting for him to make a play, and he usually does, like Andre Johnson. This guy, he gets the ball, throws people to the ground, and he does not quit. And that really is an uptick in confidence for the rest of the team. You also have to understand the structure of the team when it comes to coaching. Now you do get that in a lot of the other fantasy football podcasts, but you don't generally hear how they attack the game themselves. It's more of, there's say Josh McDaniels and he's got such and such players, like a Brandon Lloyd that did really well in his system. So look for that to happen. Well, there's credence to that, but you got to understand that the depth of how far they'll take the game. You got your player coaches, and then you got your brainchilds, and you got guys that motivators and teachers and that kind of thing. So you got to understand those dynamics. So just to give you kind of just a real easy one to understand is a guy like Bill Belichick. Years ago, when it was Brady and nobody else, I had the defense. Most players were running away from New England Patriot players, and that made it nice for me because I always got my bye week flyers, and I always got if I got ravaged by injuries, able to fill players in because I understood how Bill Belichick will take advantage of deficiencies on the other team. If I was ravaged by injuries, I was able to pick up guys that would at least minimum score me 6 to 10 points, and that scares a lot of people. But when you understand how they're going to attack the opponent, then you can attack the opponent, your particular opponent, using their methods. So that's just a little overview of how I view football. I hope that I didn't bore you to death, and see you in the future. Thanks.